Hello there. What is going on, everybody? We're going to do a little bit of a sort of an open format live stream this afternoon. We're going to talk about some questions and answers. It's something I've been trying to do a little bit more often lately. I get a lot of questions. I can't always get to them. I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've been getting in chat, in the comment sections. Also, I'm going to talk about some of the questions. If you guys have any in the live stream that you want to ask, I'll try to answer as many as I can, and we'll get to that. I'm also going to share some of the things that I've been working on. There's going to be some Star Trek stuff, some more Star Trek stuff. We've already been doing lots of Star Trek stuff between Star Trek Into the Unknown and then Star Trek Away missions. Actually found a treasure trove of some old Star Trek stuff that's going to be coming up, I think, tomorrow. So very, very soon. So that's pretty cool. And it's kind of interesting. It's been interesting to me that this channel has been Star Wars specific for so long, but I've never said I'm only going to do Star Wars. Heck, if you look behind me, you're going to see sci-fi games from all across the spectrum. I've got Nemesis behind me. We've got Star Trek over here. We've got Star Wars, Outer Rim. We've got a lot of different games. D&D right here. Cyberpunk over here. Dogs barking in the background. Dogs and cats living together in harmony. It's been crazy. Plus, we've been doing a lot of stuff with Snapships Tactics lately. I want to show you guys some of the stuff I've been working on with that. Also, so I've been having some fun with Snapships. I took a lot of my Forge miniatures, and I put almost all of the core blocks together, and I built this. This is like a capital ship, kind of like a Tantive V4 kind of size. It's on two bases. It's a little wobbly right now because I made this thing really, really heavy. Yeah, there we go here. So we got a couple of questions in chat. I'm going to get to those in just a second. But this thing is pretty awesome. I've got a lot of engines on the back side. I've got this arm on the top that actually moves, and my thought for this thing is that it would be like a repair arm. It could just repair in the front. Got a lot of guns, a lot of guns on the side there, and the underside is pretty much decked out also. So this one's really, really heavy. And the other thing is cool is I had a few little blocks left over, so I made these really small. I made the smallest things that I could do. And gosh, I don't know if you guys can hear my dog barking in the background. That's Hera. She smells somebody else walking their dog outside, so she's going crazy right now. I've got another Snapship thing to show you. I'm gonna do some questions. And answers. So there is an Armada question. It says, what rebel ship is equal to an ISD? Equal is a tough one. They don't have one that's exactly equal to an ISD, but they have some things that are close to an ISD. I think, hi, what are you doing? Hi, River. You guys haven't seen River in a while. Let me see if I can get her up here. She's getting so big now. Oh, she's so massive. Say hi, everybody. This is River. She's almost full grown now. Do you guys remember when I showed her off? She was a little puppy. She was just a little puppy. You were just a little puppy, weren't you? You were just a little puppy. Yeah, all right, down you go. All right, try not to eat everything. All right. Sorry. Yes, all right. So the question is there an Armada, a rebel ship that's equal to an ISD? I think the closest one to an ISD, it's a toss-up because I think the Liberty, the MC-80L, is closest to an ISD and that it's kind of strong. I mean, MC-80H is defensively kind of close to an ISD. The MC-80L is offensively kind of close to an ISD. Well, not quite the same defensively. I think the MC-80 Liberty is probably the closest ship to an ISD, but it's a little less and it costs a little less. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, you have the Starhawk, which is close to an ISD, but it's a little more. The Starhawk is it's got more firepower on the sides. It's got a lot more hull. It's more defensively. It doesn't have the defensive retrofit, but it has so many tools, especially with what the Rebels have available, like a gate and other things like that, and then the titles. We give it a lot more defense tokens. it is closer to a Super Star Destroyer. It's like in between a Super Star Destroyer and a Star Destroyer. So I think the Starhawk is a little more, a lot more than a regular Star Destroyer. So I'm going to say a Liberty as my answer for that one, an MC-80 Liberty, especially if you give it like gunnery team and treat it like that, like a Simoon, kind of like more of a shooty ship rather than a defensive ship. There you go. If you're looking for more of a flagship that's going to be more defensive, you could go with an MC-80 Home 1. That's going to be with defensive retrofits, and you'll still have some offensive capability, but you'll rely a little bit more on your side arc than anything else. And good luck with that. But no, I think the Starhawk is really kind of what the Rebels want to do. Also, I have some questions about Dropfleet Commander. I've seen a lot of these lately, and so I'm going to be frank. I don't think I have any more Dropfleet Commander coverage coming. I do have. I actually have some ships right here in front of me, though. And that's not to say that I'm not interested in doing any more Dropfleet Commander. I love the way these ships look. I like the way the paint jobs turned out on a lot of them. Like this Mountain Dew fleet I've got here is like super, super cool. It's not a whole fleet. It's more of just a starter box. But these are really cool looking ships. I love the aesthetic and the look of Dropfleet Commander. I kind of wish the bases were a little less flimsy. Like, let me take him off for a second. Like the bases are like trying to like stick these pegs in. They don't kind of sometimes this stuff kind of falls off like it just did. So they're a little on the flimsier side. I feel like, the whole dial thing. I feel like this part could either be improved or something like that one of these days. Or maybe there's just a better way to track ships. I'd almost rather play with like tokens. I've seen some people use beads. I actually bought some beads. If I ever do get around to playing Dropfleet Commander, I'll probably use beads to track stuff rather than everything else. But the rules and the rules seem a little rules heavy. I don't actually. One of the problems I have with Dropfleet Commanders, I don't really know how to play. I kind of read over the rules. I even played like a sample game, which is like the starter game. So I kind of done like a tutorial, but it wasn't. It was a very light skimming of the rules. We didn't figure everything out, and frankly, nobody around me plays. So it's not like there's like a local community for me to play with and get better at the game. And while I could do something like a vassal or something like that, that's just not something that I do. I want to play in person, especially with these awesome ships. I want to play with my painted ships. I don't want to play on TTS, where, I want to use my stuff. It's just kind of how I operate. So while I think Dropfleet Commander seems like a really cool game, I don't know how to play it. And I don't know anybody to play it with. So that's my problem. I went to Gen Con back in 2022. I didn't go last year, so I think it was 2022. And TTS had a booth there, and I was going to try to get a Dropfleet Commander demo, but they weren't teaching it. They were only teaching the wrestling game that they have. And I was heartbroken. And I think they might have also been teaching Drop Zone Commander. I'm like, you guys can't teach me Dropfleet Commander? You sell it. You don't have anybody to teach you, can you? And they're like, no. I'm like, so I don't know if that even means that they're not supporting it anymore, or they just didn't have anybody that knew Dropfleet Commander that day. I don't really know. So I was kind of let down. I was really hoping to get a demo from, an actual demo, because a lot of people learn better by having a tutorial, by having somebody teach them, than just being handed a rule book. And especially a lot of wargaming games have like fake rule books. So, it's one of those situations. I still think it's a cool game, and I'm not necessarily like closed off to covering it ever again or whatever. So if the opportunity arrives and I find myself at a convention and people are demoing Dropfleet Commander, or if they come up with like a 2.0 or something like that, and the stars line up where I can get like, basically, and people start playing it around me and stuff like that. Like if I have a good reason to cover it in greater detail, I'd love to, because I think the game's definitely got a ton of potential, but I can't really get into it as much as I think it deserves. and I tend to talk about games that I'm passionate about, which means I don't just cover everything. I tend to cover games that, that I'm really into, and that's, and I did talk about Dropfleet Commander, but I think that there's a thing with how often I cover a game. The more I cover a game is the more I think I'm interested in it. So, I'll talk about some games a little bit, and then they kind of like Nemesis. Like I talked about Nemesis a lot. I'll still talk about Nemesis. It's one of my favorite games, but I don't get to play it that often. So it's not like I can make new content for Nemesis every week or anything like that. Whereas like Legion, X-Wing, Armada, I talk about those a lot more. I've been talking about Dropfleet. I'm not Dropfleet Commander as much. I've been talking about Snapships a little bit. Speaking of which, I do have another Snapship to talk to you about. So I showed you guys if you guys are just joining in, I showed early on. I put all of my Forge ships together. Well, almost all of my Forge ships. I disassembled all of my Forge ships, and I put this giant thing together. This is a pretty massive ship. Can't actually use this in the game, at least not yet. I hope one day they make like capital ships or multi-base ships a thing. But this is really big. It's heavy. It's heavy too. So it's got a lot. It's got a lot going on with it. And I know this top part looks ugly. This is just like an arm to remove and make repairs or something like that. So I thought that was fun. But overall, it's cool. I think I could do something better with this top piece. I like this cockpit on it too. It's pretty cool. I think how does it open? I don't remember which side it opens from. Oh, there it goes. It opens front ways like that. I don't actually have a pilot in there. I need to put a pilot in there. But I made something else with the bad guys, and I wanted to do something kind of like Voltron. So I made this guy, all right, Optimus Crime. That's what I'm calling him right now. I don't know if that name is gonna stick, but yes, dude, he's like I wanted something kind of inspired by Voltron, or I don't know, Robotech or something like that. And yeah, so I put all of these dudes together and made this massive guy. He's got arms, he's got all kinds of armor, he's got missiles, he's got guns, his hands are massive guns. So and his head is a cockpit that can open up as well. So he's super fun. And a lot of the pieces like move on him, so I can move these claws and do stuff. I'll eventually probably have to disassemble him before I play again, because the Terratron from the joke reveal for StarCraft 2. Oh god, I don't know if I've ever seen that. I haven't played StarCraft 2 in a while, but I used to play it a pretty decent amount. I wasn't ever that good at it, but yeah. So anyway, this guy is like super cool. And he's going up on the shelf right now, or after I'm done, I'll put him back up on the shelf. I had him up on the shelf. I took him down. They were up over there next to the Thundercats. I'm going to take the Thundercats down at some point, because I've ordered the Cat's Lair from the last like crowdfunding thing that they did, and I don't know. I don't know if that's coming this year. It may. JJ, what's going on? Yeah, he's basically a Gundam, right? All right, JJ, I got to get you playing Snapships Tactics. By the way, I think you'd love it. But you can also like make a freaking Gundam or a Voltron or something like that. I think Voltron's probably a better thing, because I could theoretically like disconnect an arm and then hook it on a base on one of these, and then fly it, right? So like I could do that, Although it'd be a little harder to do it like true what you see is what you get, because I'd have to make sure each arm and each leg had pieces for like a legal ship build and stuff like that. So that part could be a little tricky, but it's super fun. You have it on your Amazon wish list. Awesome. Very cool. All right, let's see. New to miniatures games, and I've been playing kitchen table games for a minute, but have been anxious to play at your LGS. Any advice? Talk to people at your LGS. Sometimes from board games are a great way to get started, and a little easier with like when you don't know what you're doing. That's like I started going to like a board game night in my LGS, and I was nervous. Like, you may not think it because I talk to you guys so much and I'm very loud and I talk a lot, but I'm shy as hell. Or I used to be more shy. I've certainly come out of my shell a little bit since I started the channel. But before I started the channel, I was really, really shy. And that's one of the reasons I got into tabletop gaming. I was like, I used to only play online games and I wanted to play more in-person games. So yeah, I started going to like local board game nights, finding meetup groups and things like that. And that helped me come out of my shell a little bit, helped me get to know the people that I might be gaming against and learn some board games and kind of learn the scene. And from there, I picked up like an X-Wing starter, and like I was taught, one of the things that helped me get started is I talked to like the store owner, like, hey, do people play this? And he's like, yeah, they play on Sunday. It was my good friend Troy that got me into it, and rest in peace, Troy. Still miss you, buddy. But yeah, he got me, he kind of was the gatekeeper. He kind of opened up the door. He's just like, yeah, we play on Sundays. Come on by, we'll happily teach you, because he wasn't an expert in the game, but he knew how to play. And a couple other people were there. And so we did like a big 4-player game. And, I got my first game in with Troy, Richard, and Marcus. And it was a good time. And so I remember that. It was awesome. And I loved it. I was instantly in love. And then we would just do meetups every Sunday. So I would show up, and people knew I was a little new at the beginning, and it was no problem because we were playing real casually. And I wouldn't suggest going into a tournament usually as your very first game, but yeah, something like that. So it's very, very cool. But yeah, we have more questions. I'm going to get to those in a minute. But yeah, just talk to the people at your local store. Find out if they have like a beginner-friendly day for casual play. And even if you don't have anything yet, you can go up and just like watch and like ask questions, and usually just be polite. People are usually very cool, but don't be too pushy or too aggressive. Just be like, you mind if I ask you a few questions? And people generally have no problem with that. Whoever's maybe the most out of the group, if you say that like to the group, whoever's the most charismatic or welcoming may just be like, oh yeah, come on. I'll like somebody's like, I'll take you under my wing, or I'll answer your questions. There's usually always somebody like that in a group. And if there's not, then just try again a different time, So good luck to you. Good luck to you. You'll have a good time. All right, we got a lot of questions here. I'm going to try and get a quick couple more. Did you know about the game Robotech Dogfight? It uses the same basic game mechanics as X-Wing and Attack Wing. It uses 4 different elevations, making it a bit more complicated. I've never heard of Robotech Dogfight. I have not. Have you been following Star Wars Unlimited at all? A little bit, but not that much. I don't know. I don't even know when it comes out. But it's a game that I'm kind of on the fence on whether or not I'm going to cover it. I'll probably cover it a little bit. Have you played Lorcana? No, I have not. I'm afraid that I'll like it. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, guys, look, I got the new Mickey Mouse cards, and then I lose half my subscribers because dude. All right, I'll tell you this. When I did some Magic the Gathering videos, I lost a ton of subscribers. You guys, I say you guys, not necessarily you guys, but like the public that is my viewer base hated the fact that I did Magic the Gathering videos. So it makes me really want to think twice before I get into any more like tradable card games. So that's kind of one of those. I'm like, it doesn't mean that I couldn't necessarily play them, but I don't know if I want to talk about them on my channel, or if I want to just kind of keep talking about like tabletop board games and miniatures games. Card games is scary to me right now because yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Andrew says, I noticed there were no CIS lists in the 2023 World's Tournament at Adepticon. There were no CIS lists at all in the entire... Oh, in the top 8. All right, I should scroll down a little bit more. Okay. Is CIS a viable faction? I see fewer and fewer CIS lists these days. I agree that they need help. I also hope that we're going to get a Rapid Reinforcements 3. It really seems like we will, even though AMG isn't going to talk Armada at Adepticon, which is interesting to me. I don't know what's going on with that. I wonder if it's a typo. I don't know. I think they will still release something. I feel like I don't know for a fact, but a lot of people kind of share this view that I also share, is there's got to be some kind of contractual obligation that says they got to release at least one thing per year. That's the guess. And so I feel like we're going to have to get a Rapid Reinforcements 3 unless they're ready to like hand Armada, over to another company or something like that. It's got to be some kind of licensing requirement that went into it. I don't know. But I feel like that'll come. But maybe not around Adepticon timeline. It definitely wouldn't come before Worlds. I think it would be too crazy for them to like change up Worlds with like, oh, Rapid Reinforcements 3 like 3 weeks before Worlds or something like that. That would be crazy weird. So I think if they do something like that, it'll probably be after Worlds, after Adepticon, and maybe shortly after, or maybe a month or two after. I'm not sure. I feel like if they release something like that shortly after Adepticon, that would be like a slap in the face to Armada. Like, you had a whole studio panel and couldn't talk about it, and then once it's over, then it comes out with a tweet. Like, if that happens, I'm going to be a little annoyed, personally. I'll be like, wow, rude. But anyway, not really rude. Rude isn't the right word, but I feel like there's a better word. And I'm like, wasted opportunity, maybe. I don't know. So I say all that to say that I think Separatists can be a viable faction in Armada, but Separatists are kind of a one-trick pony right now. And not completely a one-trick pony. They're not totally a one-trick pony. There are a couple of different lists. My buddy Chandler from the Brace for Impact channel has seen a lot of success with running Grievous as his commander and having Vulture Droid spam that he can basically sacrifice to get defense tokens back. So that's cool. I don't know if there's enough there to make it like top tier competitive, but it's viable, right? It's viable for play. It'll work. You'll give your opponent a run for their money, even if you come up short. So I think that's a viable list. But for the most part, I feel like competitive Separatist lists have to go ship offensive. They have to go, which I like, and I run them sometimes, but they have to go like TF 1726 in the extra black dice, Patriot Fist, I feel, or if not TF, the other one whose name is escaping me right now, where you just get one extra die if they have shields on the side that you're attacking. Martuk, I believe is the name. Hopefully I beat the chat because somebody in chat's like, no, it's dummy, it's Martuk. Anyway, so like Martuk or TF, or Kraken also is a good option. But those three commanders all favor very similar lists, build styles, list archetypes, and flight path style, like strategies. So they're kind of three faces of the exact same coin. And if you can beat one of them, you can beat all three of them, because they all are kind of doing the same thing. That's my take. That's my quick take on it. And so because of that, I feel like Separatists are pretty one-dimensional, and that's probably why they aren't making it into the top 8. They don't have the diversity right now. Republic, at least with Anakin, as he is now, have a little bit more diversity. Republic can go ship defensive with Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's kind of similar level to how Grievous is for Republic. But the Republic's primarily faction, squadron based, and they've got a lot of new squadrons, and some of their squadrons have been pretty good. Like, well, Matchstick was OP, he got nerfed into oblivion, but you had Anakin, as a squadron, two versions of Anakin, and the new one from Rapid Reinforcements 1 was really, really strong. So that helped. But it's also one of those deals where the Anakin commander gave them a ship-to-ship viability. So they have a different dimension now. It's not the strongest in the world, I don't think, but I think it's definitely viable. I've seen it be very competitive, and I've seen it win tournaments. So, I still think Rebels and Empire are miles ahead of the Clone Wars factions because they've got like 10 waves or 9 waves of content, 10 waves of content possibly if you count Rapid Reinforcements. It's funny, like they will do, like if Armada goes on for like 5, 6, 7, 8 more years or whatever, and they have to do like Rapid Reinforcements 8, at the end of the day, that will be the equivalent of like 1 wave of Armada with all the new stuff, since they're giving us like, you got 4, like in a normal wave of Armada, we would get so many cards, right? And like they're doing, like, they're giving us like 2 cards at a time, 4 cards at a time or something, like really like 7 or 8 cards at a time. But it's funny. Because if you're a single faction player, you're getting like 1 or 2 cards at a time. And that's rough. I mean, especially if you were a Separatist player after Rapid Reinforcements 1, you didn't even get a squadron. You just got one thing. So, yeah, I think Separatists, haven't gotten, like, the new card they got in Rapid Reinforcements 1, the new ship, the Sea Rock Gazanti, it just added on to what they already wanted to do, which would be that ship to ship, like have another cheap shooter. It's like it was good for like Kraken lists, but not a whole lot else. I mean, it was a kind of a cheaper activation, but it wasn't that cheap, So, it's okay. It's okay. I think they're fun. I think they're doing pretty okay, but I think they are the worst faction right now. Because of their one-dimensional stuff. I'll take a few more questions. Boy, we got quite a bit. Let's see. All right. Do you think we might get a customizable generic Jedi Master and Padawan set in Legion at all? I would love to see that. The only problem with that might be licensing. They may want Jedi to be named characters. They may not want generic Jedi going into the game, because if they do a generic Jedi, they have to do art for a generic Jedi and Padawan. And they may have, all the art they have commissioned might actually belong to someone specific already. But then again, they could also go in a direction where they take art from Imperial Assault. They, for example, for your generic Rebel Commander, right? They took that guy Gideon, or whatever his name was, from I think his name was Gideon. But they took that guy from Imperial Assault. He was a named character, but he's not canon. You know what I'm saying? So they could do something like that if they want to go with generic Jedi, if licensing will allow it. Just because it got through licensing in a different example years ago doesn't mean it will also today. That being said, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see generic Jedi. I'd love to see generic Sith. I think that'd be really, really cool. I don't know where generic Sith would fit into the game, because Separatists certainly didn't have an army of Sith. I feel like generic Sith works better if you go to the Old Republic, and you do like if you have factions based on Star Wars: The Old Republic, you could totally do that. I feel like you could have rogue Jedi, or a Jedi who's like abandoned the Jedi Order and is now working for the Separatists. I feel like there's a use case for that, and that would be awesome. So maybe we'll see that. We still need Savage Opress though in the Separatists, right? And more Night Sisters and stuff. The stuff that they're doing in Shatterpoint, I wish they'd do that in Legion. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see. We're gonna do just a couple more. Any interest in Heroes of the Aturi cluster or its derivatives? A little bit. One derivative specifically. So this goes out to X-Wing players. If you have ever played Heroes of the Aturi cluster, Josh, who made that, went on to design Snapship's Tactics, the gameplay. So if you're interested in, because it has an AI component too, which I haven't even delved into yet, but because me and Sean have been playing a lot. But yeah, so if you're interested in, if you like that sort of stuff and you want to support Josh Dirksen, who basically did Heroes of the Aturi cluster, he's one of the major players behind Snapship's Tactics, of course, with all the folks that he didn't create Snapships as the line, but he was instrumental in creating the system of Snapship's Tactics. So basically turning that toy line into the game. So very cool stuff, and he's a super cool guy. And so yeah, like he created something very cool. I never actually played Heroes of the Aturi cluster, but I have friends who have. I've seen it played quite a bit. Very cool stuff. Where do you get your helmets on the shelf? I used to get a lot of them at a store called Think Geek. And then I've got some, I ordered some from Hasbro Pulse. I've got some from GameStop, which bought Think Geek. And there's one of them that I actually got, that's pretty far away. Yeah, most of them I got from Think Geek. I don't know if you can see this one that's right up here, the Bo-Katan one. That one was from a helmet shop. I forget the name of the helmet shop. But if you look for the Bo-Katan, I mean, honestly, if you want to look up any of them, look for the name of the helmet. Like, go search on YouTube, search for Crabbok helmet. and you'll probably find individual reviews for each of them. And a lot of them, I let you try them on. Like I put the helmet on over the camera, and I give you like I go into detail on all of them. So I do a lot of like collectible reviews. I have a whole playlist for collectible reviews, lightsabers, helmets, and sometimes other little odds and ends like the riot control baton I did for episode 7. It's pretty cool stuff. But yeah. Let's see. What will get dropped first, Shatterpoint or Legion? None of them. Not anytime soon. Not while they're profitable, and I think they're cheap to produce. So I think they're very profitable right now. What's your favorite faction in Legion? Oh, usually Empire. Vader and Palpatine are both really good. I like Iden Versio a lot. That's Snow Troopers I really, really like. I'm looking over at my Legion stuff right now. It's all right over there. So I'm looking at them. So I think mechanically it's Empire. Fun factor right now, it's going to be Republic because I still want to run Wookiees, and I haven't run Wookiees yet, the Wookiee Battle Force. So, and I want to get those on the field. I think the spirit of the initial game, I really liked Rebels the most. Rebels have the most heroes, so and they're cheap heroes, so it's like you can fit a lot of heroes into a Rebel build easily. I love that. But as far as miniatures go, I think Republic is really cool. Like I love the way the Republic's miniatures look. I love the clone troopers. I painted them better. So a lot of my stormtroopers don't look as good because I was newer to painting, and I think my skills had grown over the years, and so by the time the Clone Wars came out, I was doing a better job. And also a lot of my Rebel troopers and stormtroopers I rushed through because I was trying to get them painted to play on day one, and I wanted to have a full painted army. I think if the game came out on a Thursday and I was playing Saturday, I wanted to have a fully painted army in 2 days. So I really rushed everything in that core set for Legion, and I regret that now. I regret that. I should have just primed them, and that could have been it. I could have just played with a primed army for the first day because I had this whole painted army, and I'm the only one in the store with any paint on his miniatures. And I'm like, you guys didn't paint? They're like, no, man, it just came out. I'm like, I didn't want to be the only one who hasn't painted. So yeah, and that affects the way I view a faction, because the more beautiful an army is, like this Dropfleet commander ship, right? Like I love this ship, like, and this ship, like I love the effect, the green to yellow, and then the gray on the underside, and then like the red tips on the guns. It's like a Mountain Dew kind of inspired fleet. Like these are cool ships. And like it makes me like I would love to be able to fly them because they look cool, and I did that, so like that's a big part of it. So the better certain things look, the more I want to play them. And basing goes a long way too. And so like a lot of the basing I did for my Rebels and Empire ended up not being that good. So little by little I've been going through and rebasing a lot of stuff. I rebased most of my Empire stuff and made their bases look a lot better. And so that's another reason I like Empire. All right, let's see. We got some more. In Legion, what is better, Dark Troopers or Death Troopers? Dark Troopers. They're heavy. They can't be suppressed. They're troopers. They can be, they get to activate twice. They have that armor. They're hard to kill. I freaking think they're insane. Gideon can make them warp around the board too. Look, I like Death Troopers, but Dark Troopers are just crazy, right? They're more expensive though, that's for sure. But it's just as far as better. Dark Troopers are more expensive for a reason because they're that good. So yeah. All right. Where are you gonna put all your Star Trek Into the Unknown fleets? Whoa, that question. That one hurts me. That one hurts me because I think I don't know yet. We're gonna play it a lot first, and if it's got, depending on how good it is going to depend on where it goes. One option I've got is right up here where the Thundercats are. That's cool. It might be enough space. Okay. Another option might be sharing space with Armada. Or if it's that good, I might take some Armada and and relocate it to either a box or, you know, I may, or, you know, I don't know. It might completely take this. I don't think it'll completely take the spot of Armada. I don't think I would allow that to happen, because I actually really, really want. I think I'm just gonna realistically. I think it's going to share space with Armada, because I would love to have like a Star Destroyer and a Galaxy class facing off like on my shelf. I feel like that would also be good background stuff, because that would kind of tell people a little bit about. I like for the background to set the stage on what my channel's about. And if you look right now, you're going to see miniatures games, board games, collectibles, geeky stuff, and Thundercats, even though I don't do, there's not a whole lot of Thundercats gaming stuff. But boy, oh boy. I hear a car alarm going off. Once there are Thundercats games, oh, forget about it. I'm going to be like, I think CMON will be the company to do it. And then I like their stuff. They do good miniatures. Yeah. So that's cool stuff. All right. We're going to wrap this up here pretty soon. What ships are you most looking forward to seeing in Star Trek Into the Unknown? I'm going to start you off right here with a great one. Romulan Warbird, the D-Deridex class Warbird. This is one of my favorite Star Trek ships of all time. Maybe my favorite Star Trek ship of all time. I think I'm going to say it's probably my favorite Star Trek ship of all time. Granted, I love the Galaxy class Enterprise. I love the Defiant. I really like the Enterprise B, that's modified Excelsior. Really like that one. Enterprise, and the Excelsior classes in general are just a really cool looking ship, but the Enterprise B is awesome. I also like the Oberth. I really want to get some an Oberth on the table, because it's the little engine that could. The Mirandas are pretty cool. The Nebulons, I'm sorry, the Nebula. I'm gonna get that confused a lot. Yeah, so the Nebula is really cool, and yeah, a lot of cool stuff like that. I just got word that I do have to vacate the premises. We've got somebody coming through here in just a minute. Wife is going to kick me out of here, and I need to round up the dogs. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, but keep the questions coming. We will do more Q&As. They won't all be live streams. Sometimes leave your questions. I'll try to answer them when I can. And don't forget to join our Discord and check the links in the video description below and all that good stuff. I will talk to you guys later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. And last question, do you ever go to tournaments? Sometimes I do. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day. May the Force be with you. Bye. Boop, boop, boop.